let's hope we don't miss. He doesn't live there anymore.
No. Yeah.
I see a Larkin Street for weeds and grass. We didn't cut our grass for about a month because they didn't have a tractor.
Hang on a second.
nervous.
All right. And I call the Village of Middleville Planning Commission meeting to order. Cam, if we can have a roll call, please.
Jason Holzhausen,
Here.
Maria Dalkey. Here. Bruce Farrell,
Here.
Richard Hamilton, Troy Newman,
Here.
Amanda Pullen. Here. Di Wilkie.
I want to quick make a motion to excuse Mr. Hamilton this evening.
Support.
We have a motion with support to excuse Mr. Hamilton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. We have the Pledge of Allegiance on our agenda. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have an agenda in front of us. Any questions, comments, additions? No, I do know that the administrator's report section will include Craig this evening as soon as he's done meeting with a couple council members. So a motion would be in order.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Support.
We have a motion to approve our agenda with support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We have our agenda. Minutes from August 7th. Everyone had a chance to read them. Corrections, comments, clarifications?
All good.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Support.
We have a motion with support to approve our minutes from August 7th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. We have our minutes approved. Public comment session. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Jason.
You good?
I got nothing.
You got nothing? Okay.
And it's not contagious.
All right, new business. Mr. Powers, master plan updates.
So we've been talking about the need for master plan updates. Right here, the initial purpose behind the scope is, as we haven't had a committee set up in the past related to master plan. Would the scope of this work be something that the full commission would like to discuss? Or should this potentially be worked through a committee and then brought to the planning commission at a later date? So the items that are listed under the background, listed the 1 through 5, are, just some general items that I, tried to draft to give us a potential initial talking points. However, there are other items that would potentially need to be evaluated too. Like we may need to see whether the TAPRC is, revising or updating the Parks and Rec plan, or if that's something that should potentially be considered for updates within the master plan. There's other items. I'm sure many of you have had engagement with various residents that might have items beyond this scope. But I guess, first of all, what comments, questions, or concerns do you have for me related to the scope, and what are your thoughts? Is this something that the full commission would like to discuss, or would it be behoove us to establish a committee to wordsmith this more?
Let's remind us of the 2 area plans.
So the 2 area plans, what was being looked at was has to do with timing, but one was related to the 36 State Street property. As we can discuss that a little bit more later, but the future land use shows that it's transitional industrial. However, there's nothing in regards to the maximums of density. So we may need to do some more engagement with residents to see what, the potential uses would make sense there, especially considering, if there's opportunities for, the Andronico site or any of the other neighboring properties. The other one is, as many of you know, the Baby Bliss is coming close to fruition. However, the village owns approximately 10 acres just northwest of that property. In not this master plan, but in the previous 06 master plan, it had ideas for potential residential in that area. So I think it will behoove us to look into what the best use for those areas are in the community. as our current master plan only has very little information regarding best use. The area I'm referring to, I best guess would be better described as west and north of the former creamery.
Do you have a time frame of when you wanted this to be completed?
So this is up to the planning commission. Ideally, I would anticipate that we would try to devise a scope of work earlier towards the end of this year, where next year, this is something that would start to be worked on. It's not something that we had planned on budgeting for this year.
So if we gather a scope of work and will be budgeted for
It will
next
be
year.
budgeted for next year if we don't get it funded through the RRC, grants through there for technical assistance or some alternative funds.
Does anybody see something on this list that shouldn't be there or something that may be missing? Oh, that's a whole lot of silence.
No, I think these are good bullets. I think the community assessment is very important to this whole project because we did have a committee in the past when we revised the master plan. And trying to get feedback from the community was very difficult. We did a public forum as far as trying to get surveys, and we had a really good turnout, but most of the people that participated, the ones that I talked to anyway, were not from the village. They were outsiders, from Hastings or somewhere else that came, they're there for the farmer's market. So it really wasn't a fair assessment of, the survey because it didn't have the villagers, most of the villagers.
So you're right. For like preliminary research prior to doing surveys, generally what my practice will be is doing charrettes, trying to engage with businesses at areas that we know where there's multiple people that congregate that are affiliated with the village, so we can better, fine tune this. But, ideally getting, the general perspective first, so we know what types of questions to potentially ask them so they can better help us help them in the future.
My personal opinion, this seems to be a bit much for the planning commission to take on, but that's just me. There's a lot of, it's not just 5 tasks. There's like 5 to 8 in each section, and that seems a bit much, unless you've got like a 2-year time frame.
Well, I think
It's
if
very intense.
we could, in our figuring out the scope of work, that would be part of figuring out what we absolutely need to accomplish and what could be if there's time and budget, and then push it off if needed.
Maybe phase it into the next
Yeah.
year or something.
You had something, Troy?
Where did you say that 10 acres was?
So I'm talking about north on the south and north side of Water Street. It's primarily designated as natural or high density on the future land use map.
So the question is, do we want to tackle this as a whole group? Or do 3 of us want to begin this and meet outside of our monthly meetings in a little less formal environment to see what we can come up with for a scope of work by the end of the year?
I said break off.
That was going to be my vote, is a
Yeah. Separate committee.
A
That's what I'm
separate-
saying, it's a bit much.
whether it is a new committee or if our members of the ordinance committee want to tackle that. Would the members of the ordinance committee want that work? Or,
Is it the 3 of us?
yes.
It is. It's the 3 of us.
Trying to hand it out.
So, and just as a FYI too, I was going to bring this up later in the meeting, but we're going to check for the ordinance committee's availability because we're looking at revising the street design standards. So that'll be something that will be coming before the committee, along with a couple other potential revisions pending on what we do related to the future land use map, as we don't have zoning districts defined for each of those uses if we were considering adopting that as our zoning.
Who's our backup for the ordinance committee?
It's me.
We'll take it on.
As long as we're not doing anything with the signs, I'm great.
Nobody said anything about signs.
Hey, that took forever, okay?
Well, we don't have signs for a couple of the districts.
That just took forever, okay?
So as far as the defining the scope of work for next year for master plan updates, the ordinance committee is willing to take that on
Are you good?
Sure.
at
Yeah.
the moment? Okay.
We can.
Are you good with being an alternate? One of us are sick.
Gonna need a
Of
doctor.
us,
No, I realize I'm the alternate on that committee, and that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah. That'll work then. Okay, so we're looking to have that done by the end of this calendar year, correct?
Yeah, so at the end of the meeting, well, Kim will try to get your availability. We'll see if we can get something scheduled.
Christmas present for.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. We didn't have any committee reports. Doug, does the site plan committee have something coming up?
So
Has that?
So I did receive, or have received a preliminary for the storage units that's able to be reviewed administratively.
Okay.
As it was, previously approved by this board. So that's one item, that I say it's preliminary because, there's still a couple items that are needed for it to get a full approval. Don't have anything else yet.
Okay.
So we will see. Keep your calendars available.
Everything we talk about.
The storage
The
units. on
storage
Midville
units at
site.
the Bill site, yeah.
Yep.
Where because if that meets,
So they're,
you can approve that administratively if
yeah,
it meets.
they're pretty
the
much,
guidelines.
it's almost identical.
Okay.
They made some minor tweaks to the design of the units, but the actual parameters that fire DPW will be concerned with, it's all the same.
So we won't need to see that unless something drastic happens to it.
That's correct.
I know, so you've got your administrator's report, and I know Craig wanted to join you for that. If you wanted to start, and then we can, or if we want to take a break real quick, if you want to go see how far he is.
I will take a break really quick if, Kim, if you wouldn't mind, if you could go over this, and try to ascertain questions, I'll be right back. Dawn.
We will hang out and wait for you, Doug. It's fine.
Does anybody have any questions about Doug's report?
Wow.
I have a question that's not related to anything.
Oh, while we're waiting, did you all see the email Kim sent about the MSU Zoom session?
So I think what we're going to try to do, because I know there's been a couple of people interested in doing that, is we could Zoom that here because it's in the middle of the day. So staff would be here to be able to set it up. So if there's multiple people that want to attend, we would just probably either have it in the conference room or in here.
What day was that?
For September 17th, and I believe it's at 12:30
Yeah.
to like 1:45.
I registered myself. I'm gonna do it from my desk at work.
Yeah, that's in my thought too.
If there's anybody that wants to do it here and doesn't have the ability to do it, I know Bruce mentioned it. I mean, it's something simple we could set up here. It's
Yeah,
free, so it's not gonna cost
Okay.
anything. So before we
Take a
leave.
lunch and come here. Anytime I can get out of the office is a good
We just
time.
talked about the
Michigan
Good
State.
evening, Mr. Stosberg.
How are you?
Not too bad. What have you got for us this evening?
So next week on the village council agenda, there's going to be a proposal to put the DDA board function, eliminate the DDA board itself and put the function underneath planning and zoning, which I would anticipate would probably pass. For municipalities of less than 5,000 residents, it's an allowed function for it to come underneath of planning and zoning as opposed to having a complete separate DDA board. With that, there'd probably be some proposal. I would propose keeping the DDA and the planning commission on the same night.
Because that would effectively make this board
The planning, the DDA.
the DDA board.
Okay.
Yes. And I would also, there are some different examples from around the state where you all are paid $35 per meeting. So there's some different examples where they're actually paid a little bit more, but that would be in the nuts and bolts of it later on. But wanted to forewarn you.
So how does that mean that the members from the board are moving to the planning commission? Or are we taking
We would be,
over the
No.
we would be
responsibility?
replacing the DDA board.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Exactly.
And so, but those meetings have to administratively happen separate.
Yes.
So we would have,
You could have like however it worked, like 6 o'clock planning commission, 7:30 DDA, or however that worked, 5 and 6, or however that looked. So,
however we can logistically
Yes.
make that happen.
That's something that we'd have to figure out.
yep, we'd have to
administratively.
work through that.
What's the motivation behind this?
I'm trying not to say too much before it is on the agenda next week. So right now, in the current form, the DDA board is not fully functioning. They need to have at least 5 members of the 9 that are representative of downtown businesses. And right now, they don't have that. So as a way of continuing the DDA function, but not necessarily having to have all those members be serving, from businesses, it's a way to do that. Also that way they don't have to worry about, when you have a lot of turnover or, having difficulty finding new members and things like that, then that eliminates that need also.
So this board hasn't had a lot of turnover in a while. So you've been here a while.
I have.
So since this is kind of related, but is there an opening on the planning commission right now?
On the planning
there's not.
commission?
No,
Planning commission's fully,
not unless you're quitting.
No, but I was looking on the website today and I thought I saw a position.
for the zoning
description.
board of appeals,
ZBA.
they've had an opening. But they do have an alternate member, so technically there's enough to
okay.
kind of get full board.
Yep. Housing Commission has, so the Middleville Housing Commission, which governs the Thornapple, not
Lincoln Meadows.
Lincoln Meadows, thank you. It has an opening there.
Oh, okay.
Don Williamson served down there for the past 15 years and that he stepped down. So,
Okay.
so if you need something else to do, Maria.
Yeah. Let's do that.
So the council is taking that up at their next meeting
Yes, Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
next week.
Next week. Yep.
So after that meeting, we'd probably be able to follow up with an email regarding
Yes.
when this potentially next steps.
Yep. Yep, and for consideration, Tuesday would be whether they want to move forward with the idea of it, and then we'd have to, get with the attorneys and draw up all the nuts and bolts and
Yeah.
everything else at that point, so.
Yeah.
But I didn't want you all to be blindsided if that were to happen, so this is my first best opportunity before that, and
Okay.
hopefully it beats the paper, but probably won't, but anyway.
You just gave me my story for the night.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. So any questions right now? I'll try to answer what I can, but a lot of it might not be able to be answered until after they make their choice there. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
So I don't know if you had any other questions for me pertaining to the updates, but just as a brief recap, so the Baby Bliss demo, that's currently in the works. I know
Is
I've
it
said this
happening?
before, But they got an extension on the funds
Okay.
through October, but there were people out on site today. They're actively trying to finish the demolition of that site. So by the end of October, both Baby Bliss and the Designware should be remediated, demo. Mid-Villa update, I believe everyone is aware, besides the storage units that I mentioned. The TIF request passed at the County Commission Board. So I'm anticipating seeing what those future commercial outlets look like, because those very well could be the next need for the site plan committee.
Doesn't the state have to approve that, the funds too?
So there's an aspect that's approved by the state funding. I don't really have, updates on that, but
Right.
it's mostly done through the county. I can see what information I can get on that aspect later, but
I mean, it's not completely a done deal until they,
it's not a done deal until everything's complete, but yeah,
you don't anticipate any problem.
I don't anticipate any problems. Zoning amendments, two aspects. One is the street designs, as we kind of mentioned. The other, it may behoove us to look into some of the zoning amendments related to what we previously discussed in our strategic planning meeting, along with, potential revisions to zoning to better serve the community in regards to our future land use map and how that could potentially be better utilized. So those are a couple things, that we can discuss.
At the risk of getting into the weeds and just wave me off, what's council looking at for street design?
So we haven't gotten specific direction from council. I know that they have they wanted something similar to like what was proposed in Seneca Ridge. A lot,
Okay.
the street design is going to be twofold. One is what the ordinance committee, hashing out some of these potential details, and the other is going to be with our DPW. So this is going to be collaboration with engineering as well as planning, because from right now, there are no specifics. Just in regards to like the types of materials, the engineered specs, we're lacking some things. I'm not suggesting much in regards to right of way. That'll be similar to what we have in Seneca Ridge, but just having general design standards for how to construct a road is something we're potentially lacking. So some of those aspects could potentially include like some cross sections, items to show like what, how a street design should occur.
Okay.
Having more pictorial information in our ordinance with support. And then I believe Kim mentioned the legislative update.
Yeah.
So other than, I failed to mention that the 36 State Street property, the Village Council did award that to the Cop Rock developers. So now we'll be working on what a potential development agreement would look like, and that'll come at a future date. I can give more details, especially pending what we just learned a little bit ago, what that will potentially look like for this board. Right now, I can say just stay tuned.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. We have the code enforcement report. Questions, comments? I was looking for my house and it's not on there, so I'm good.
I check every week.
Yeah, I know.
Every month, I should say.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anything, folks?
No, sir.
No? All right, we are at our second public comment session. Hi, Greg. No, okay. Anything from us up here?
Yeah, I got it.
So
My
I had
questions already
questions.
Yeah.
About the planning conference at Amway. They're having a workshop for the citizens planner. Were you
So-
able to check into that or?
So in order to do the citizen planner at the MAP conference, you have to attend the full conference. Generally, a lot of times, if you're not able to do that, the way that's more time friendly is the online version, because the citizen planner, you have to, be there for that full duration. And technically, I'm speaking from experience because I've done that myself, but the duration and period is a little longer than the actual conference. We can touch base about it a little bit more after the meeting too, if you want.
Is it the
And-
citizen planner, the one that I did?
That's the one that you just did online. So instead of being, it's a lot more flexible, the online version, but
Okay.
we can talk about that if you want.
Okay. All right, check into it.
Well, if barring any other comments? No, then I will make the motion that we adjourn. Oh, you can pick one there, Kim. We've got a motion with support to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. We're adjourned.
Yeah, they had like 3 days.
It was an experience.
I know, I'm surprised you ever missed the planning